Each and every Thursday, sportsmemo.com goes back in time and you can daily pick packages priced at only $5. And yes, for those wondering, that includes 5% best bets, normally priced at $30. This is the real Throwback Thursday. As an added bonus, all first-time customers will be credited $25 in wager bucks after their initial $5 purchase. So each and every Thursday, make sure to go to sportsmemo.com and get best bets from the hottest cappers for only $5.
Welcome to WagerTalk Today, everybody. It's Wednesday. Kelly Stewart, right off the bat, she's going to take a look at 3 NBA games. Jazz Sixers, Nets versus the Rockets, and the Thunder versus the Mavs. Arthur DiCesare at the bottom. Teddy covers big game breakdown. My penalty box segment went 2-0 for you guys in the penalty box segment, so stay with us all the way to the end of the show. I've been rolling in the penalty box and some stuff to talk about. But first and foremost, Theodore Covers, how are you, my friend?
I've had better days. I had a pretty frustrating end to my big ticket last night, but came back with a right side on Phoenix to close out the evening. But I'm doing okay today, Prez. How about yourself?
Brother, I didn't get a chance to work out this morning. I was on puck time, so I'm not as energetic as I would like to be, but everything's great, man. Yesterday, we spoke a little bit about the T-shirts we're going to be giving out. We had an idea for today's show, but it is on hold for 1 week. I'm doing inventory. I have bought the T-shirts. Karma's coming over later. We're going to do inventory, and then on Monday, we're going to start screen printing. So it is all happening. Just bear with us, everybody. Teddy, I got to give out some... What's so funny, bro? Talk to me.
I'm simply smiling at you, Prez. I wasn't laughing at you necessarily, even though you promised everyone yesterday they would get stuff. But it is a work in progress. It is a promotion in progress. Prez jumped the gun just a little bit on it yesterday, but we will have those shirts for you in the not too distant future.
Excellent stuff. I got to tell you guys about some runs happening over at WagerTalk and Sports Memo because it's really ridiculous. Like right now, we are just in the zone as a whole website. NBA runs, ASA over at Sports Memo, 11-1 their last 12. Bobby Liggs at WagerTalk, 16-4 NBA run. Osgeim won again last night, 14-2 NBA run. Kabang, 27-7. Teddy, I'm on a 12-1 NBA 4% run and 15-6 NBA run. Hockey streaks. Rocky Atkinson, 15-2 his last 17. Guys, Rocky has a 5% play up tonight over at Sports Memo. A couple of weeks ago, Teddy, I told everybody about Rocky's 5% play at 1. Calgary Flames plus 160. He cashed that ticket. He's got another one tonight. Make sure to grab that. Teddy, your bad beat segment. I can't wait. Before you get into it, I just want to tell you I had the opposite of a bad beat last night, so I'm feeling really good. I had the under in the New York Rangers Buffalo game. Teddy, they dropped the puck. Goal. 8 seconds in. They get back to the center ice, drop the puck, goal. 2 goals in the first 50 seconds of the game. They drop the puck, goal. It was 2-1, a minute and a half into the hockey game, and it stayed under 5.5. There's the good news. How about some bad?
Sure. Let's do a little bad beats. Bad bets and bad for the books. So a recap of what happened in the sports betting world last night. And if you had West Virginia in college hoops yesterday, whether you had them first half or full game, it wasn't a whole lot of fun. First half, West Virginia, they're +2, +2.5. They're down by 1. A charge that wasn't a charge on Baylor equals the Mountaineers get the ball down 1. Closing seconds of the first half, you're +2. You can't lose, right? Except when you turn the ball over and then Baylor winds the clock down and hits a 3 just before the buzzer to cover that first half number. pretty rough West Virginia first half. Same story for the full game. I mean, Baylor had no chance to cover at the end of regulation. You had a West Virginia chicken in your pocket. You're saying anything but overtime, anything but overtime. What happens? Layup to go into overtime. The next thing you know, West Virginia goes cold. The Bears -4 win by 5. West Virginia first half, West Virginia full game. Both tough beats. At Steve Loves to Bet, I sent a tweet on this one. And I don't even know if this is a bad beat or not. Wisconsin-Milwaukee. They're +14. They're down 18 at the half. They're down 24 with 8 minutes to play. You're not going to cash your +14. You're not going to cash anything, except they cash on the money line. Rally from 24 down, came all the way back to forced OT, win outright in OT over Wright State. Tough beat for Wright State backers in that ball game. I had one last night, unfortunately. I don't even know if this is a bad beat. Iowa State was not the right side in that game. But they hung around all game like I thought they were gonna. They're down by 8 with just over a minute to play. Great defense on a possession, and then, oops, they give a bucket, a contested bucket right at the end. They're down, 73-65, +12.5. Then they miss and foul and miss and foul. And, of course, +12.5, they foul down 12 with 16 seconds left, lose by 14. You don't come back from a 12-point deficit with 16 seconds left. And yet, one more foul dooms Cyclone backers. And maybe the worst one of the day, Tulsa, +3.5 at Central Florida. The Hurricanes were up 5 with just over 3 to play. They're right side, 67-62. They didn't make another shot. And they're still down only 2. A good look from 3 to win with 5 seconds left. Brick, foul, 2 free throws. Tulsa +3.5, loses by 4. Ouch. That wasn't fun. Bad bets. Michigan, -7. Bet up as high as -9. Illinois blew them out of Chrysler, 76-53. All the Wolverines' money was bad bets. Milwaukee Bucks got bet up last night, -6.5 to -8 against the Nuggets. Denver on the second of back-to-backs, didn't matter. Denver blew them out, won that game by, 31? And the Knicks took a bunch of money last night, +1.5 to -1.5. Knicks aren't ready for winning streaks yet. The Spurs blew them out, 119-93. So all of those bad bets in blowout losses where the money went the wrong way. And a couple of bad for books worth talking about. The wise guy special in the NBA last night was the Atlanta Hawks. No Jimmy Butler for Miami. Atlanta in short turnaround revenge off a coaching change. And it was the Hawks all the way. They down to +2 at the close. They won the game by 14. That said, there was some over money, too. The under cash by 50 points. Doesn't happen every day in the NBA. So the books got some back there. The Suns bet from +1.5 to -1.5 at LA, even some -2. Phoenix wins the game by 10. That was bad for the house. And a couple of MAC totals landed right in the middle. Akron Buffalo opened 156. Bet up to 159.5, lands 158. Over bettors cash, under bettors cash. Same story with Toledo. Central Michigan landed right on 160. So there you have it, Prez. A little bad beats, a couple of bad bets, and some bad results from the books from last night's betting action. That, of course, was a long time ago. Now let's talk about today.
Good stuff, Teddy. Thank you, man. We had one of our listeners was on Baylor, so he was pretty happy with how it went down. Kelly Stewart joining us, everybody. Kel, orange is my favorite color, man. Look at us. We're oranging today. How are you? What's going on?
You know, Prez, every day just getting to live the dream. No complaints. Excited for the tournament to get started. Excited that I wasn't on any of those games that Teddy just mentioned. I feel like lately my life has been a bad beat. I got to step it up on the show, too. I've been doing so well in the NBA. Then I come on your show, and it's just absolutely atrocious. So let's see if we can't find 3 winners for tonight.
Just to let everybody know, I actually asked Kelly before the show began, what does it mean to be living the dream? Her response, I get to talk sports for a living. That is a fair response and a dream. A lot of people are jealous. With all that said, Kel, Teddy and I spend our nights staring at television sets, score tickers, our betting account. I turned down a session with Viv 2 nights ago because the third period of the Colorado game was on. I don't know if
you're
it
not.
qualifies.
I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to do that. That is actually really bad, but also kind of bad timing on Viv's part. She could have waited another half hour.
No, well, she did turn to me. No, listen, to her credit, she turned to me at midnight and said, I'm getting tired. If you want action, it has to happen now. And I was like, the third period is starting. Just go to sleep. So I don't know if
it was a whole ordeal and you're like, hey, I have to watch this instead. It was just a casual conversation. Is that what it's going to be like when I'm 50? I hope not.
Kel, it might be for your man, but not for you. But I don't know. Again, go back to the dream. I don't know if it's that much of a dream. I mean, staring at scores all night can drive a human being crazy.
Well,
I mean, Teddy. Yep.
Well, Prez, I was going to say, you don't have to watch. I mean, look, I've got screens. I
hear that
TVs,
every day.
I've got computers. I honestly have learned, especially in the NBA, unless I have a first half bet, of course, that sometimes it doesn't matter. I can be at the gym, on the treadmill. I can catch a little bit here, a little bit there. It really feels like it's more of a late third quarter, fourth quarter type game. And also our buddy Dave, Sportsbook Consigliere, taught me on the Super Bowl that basically my TV is like a 13-second delay, if not more. So I open up whatever betting app that I want in game, and that's just where I follow along. It's so much less stressful than trying to guess what's going to happen next when it's almost like I have the future in the palm of my hand. So that's my new addiction. When I, like last night I had the Lakers second half under. I wanted to bet the game under. Thank goodness I missed it. I was on a phone call and 5:01 and I'm wanting to break my phone for not getting it in earlier. And so I took the second half under and my buddy's like, oh man, they just keep throwing threes. I go, oh, what do you mean it's final? He goes, what do you mean it's final? I go, oh yeah, your TV's behind. And those kind of moments give me like some sort of like sick joy that I'm not on the television watching myself. Like, I don't know. I'm trying to age more gracefully and watching these games is not helping that. So maybe
I get it.
Maybe there's sometimes you just turn it off. I get it. The meltdowns, the excitement, it's all there, but sometimes it's not worth it to me anymore.
Well, watching NBA will take years off your life. I mean, there's no, there's no except, and watching in particular NBA first quarters don't have a whole, I mean, not always a whole lot of correlation with the rest of the game. So I'm not afraid, but I end up watching a ton of NBA, but a lot of times I'm not focused on my game or my games until it's point spread covering time, until the fourth quarter. Because you pick up so much when you're watching these games, but the games that you're emotionally invested in, you're not picking up as much because you're too focused on the score and whether they made the shot or missed the shot. Yeah. So I spend a lot of time watching games that I'm not betting on in the NBA. That's where you pick up a lot of your info for future weeks.
That's great advice, Teddy.
And that's ultimately why I watch the games, Kelly, especially the hockey games, because I need to see the flow, the pace, et cetera, and especially given that a lot of these teams, all the teams are playing the same teams over and over and over again. But I mean, my dad always would say to me, Lawrence, watching the games will not affect the score. Anyway, let's get straight to it.
He's not wrong. Yeah. And you throwing out things like you think are reverse jinxes or whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah. It makes you feel better in the moment.
You know what, Kelly? Speaking about superstition, I got to show you guys. So,
I don't want to see the sweatpants. Get the sweatpants
look at the sweatpants. They're like, I'm wearing like tie-dye sweatpants.
They look like cotton candy.
Yeah, Kel, I'm on day 7. They haven't been washed. Yeah. That means that I haven't had a losing night in hockey in 7.
Oh,
I hope.
Okay.
Kelly, I hope
smell them from here.
Yeah, shut up, Teddy. I hope these sweatpants are on. Dude, I'm winning every night. I can't take them off. I went to the dentist in these ridiculous sweatpants. Let's get to it, guys. Jazz Sixers. Kel, minus 3.5 of Utah, 230 on tap. Look, Utah has not lost a back-to-back game in a long, long time. They lost their last game to New Orleans. They play Philly. Philly has righted the ship to a degree, won 3 of their last 4. Now they're a home dog. Where are we going in this game?
Prez, there's so many different narratives here, right? Philly doesn't lose at home. As you just mentioned, the Jazz don't lose 2 in a row. I'm so excited for this game, both number one teams in the East and in the West. The 76ers, I thought, would be getting a little bit more respect here with this line. 3.5, the whole world wants to bet the Sixers. Did we just write the Utah Jazz off after losing to the Pelicans? Which, mind you, we covered that game at Turner. We were on NBA TV watching it with the NBA bet stream. And let me tell you, the Jazz looked tired. And that is exactly what happened. Zion Williamson took over in that third quarter. And that was kind of all she wrote. But then the Jazz were doing their typical Jazz things. Bogdanovich was a monster from three-point range. I'm not writing off this Jazz team just yet. It's the same thing after the Clippers game. Everybody kind of wrote them off there. And guess what? They went right back to it, back to their winning ways. I'm laying 3.5 with the Jazz here. I do lean towards the over as well, but I don't like to usually bet multiple things in a game like this magnitude. I don't want to have to cheer for two things. So I like the Jazz minus 3.5.
Now, we have seen this total get bet down. There were 230s out there overnight. Now we're looking at 228, pretty much across the board. You said you like the over. Talk a little bit why.
Yeah, Teddy, look, I definitely do. And I do think that this Jazz team, once they do catch fire, which we haven't seen Ben Simmons do anything from three-point land. Is he going to show up at any time here? The main reason why I'm not going to touch this total is exactly what you said. We spoke about this, I think it was last week or the week prior. There are sharp groups, and when they start betting these totals, you don't want to be on the other side. Win or lose, they have been absolutely on fire this year. I just think that the Jazz, coupled with how tired they have been on this road stretch, they're not playing the defense, that lockdown number 2 in defensive efficiency in the NBA that we've seen them play. And that's the reason why I lean towards the over, but I'm not going to step in front of this line move. And also, as I mentioned, I prefer the Jazz minus 3.5 here over the total.
Kelly Stewart, everybody. Kelly, it's such a pleasure to have you. Arthur DiCesare up at the bottom of the hour. Stay with us, everybody. Lots of games to discuss. And Kelly, this Nets team, fascinating. I mean, they're really coming together. It took them a while. And we've seen this play out before. I remember when the Heat had the big three. It takes time for these teams to gel. And, they are gelling. Minus 9.5. It came out at 8. So there's money clearly coming down on Brooklyn. The total in this game, 228.5, bet up from 226.5. And Houston, man, they can't get out of their own way. They've lost 5 in a row. They've lost 9 of 10. Brooklyn has only lost 1 game in their last 10 against Dallas. It's a big number, Kel, and on the road, but I don't see how you can play Houston here.
To me, Houston is an auto fade. Now, that is at the opening number of Nets minus 8. Now we're at 9.5, and we're just going to see this only go one way. Yeah. Nobody's betting the Rockets, and that's because Rockets 1-9 in their last 10 against the spread. How can you bet the Rockets? They were laying 2.5 the other night to the Cavs. We were talking about on our live broadcast. I said, I'm sorry, you have to play the Cavs or stay away. And that's exactly how I feel about this Nets team. I wanted to actually bring this up because at what point in time, and this is where I really respect what Teddy does, because I am so new to the NBA space. I got thrown in this job, and as a girl who said, hey, I don't like the NBA, I don't watch the NBA, I can't make money on the NBA, I've been forced to learn this sport over the last year, and I've really been able to pick and choose my spots. And we know that short-term sample sizes come into play. Teddy, at what point do you now hop on the other side of the Rockets? I don't think at even 11 and a half, I could get involved. I know there's a point where now we're too late to the party on the Nets, but mathematically, we're going to see some regression from this 1-9 against the spread. The Houston Rockets have got to cover at some point in time, but is it going to be like this Jazz team where we just see a monster run betting against the Rockets?
Well, there's already been a monster run betting against the Rockets.
Yes,
the Rockets,
and it's been great.
I don't know where Prez is getting his streaks from. The Rockets have lost their last 12 games in straight up fashion. They have one cover, 1-11 against the spread in their last 12. And that cover was a BS cover. They were down 20 and hit some threes at the end. Only lose by 5 or 6. I'm forgetting who it was against. But even that game, they were blown out. All that said,
my bad on that. My bad on that,
one
Teddy.
game
I read the wrong thing.
Where Houston, Prez, you got to shut up when someone else is talking, dude. You did that all show yesterday, too. Really. Yeah, exactly. If someone else is talking, zip it. All that said, if there's one game that Houston's supposed to show up for, it's the last game before the All-Star break where their former star who dissed them in a real way comes back to town. And, oh, by the way, that team's laying, 9.5 and taking I mean, this is supposed to be the game for the Rockets to show up, in theory.
And that's exactly the dilemma that I'm at with this game. I am going to wait. I'm hanging tight. I'm looking towards the under, but this one's getting bet up right now. Looks like 228.5. Sorry, let me refresh my screen. 228.5. It's getting bet up. I'm going to let it keep getting bet up. If we see a 230, I'm going to get involved on the under. I do think that this Rockets team, in theory, should have some heart, should come to play. But man, early on, I was looking at the Nets, missed the 8. At this point, I think you're late to the party. You don't really want to get involved. But I think it's an interesting narrative, Prez, which is why I wanted to talk about this game.
Yeah, and Teddy makes a lot of sense there. I mean, you'd expect Houston to really play lights out tonight. It's just a matter of whether it's enough. Talking about missing the 8, Kel, Oklahoma City, Dallas. We had an opening line of 8. Now it's 5 for the Mavericks. 223 is the total. And Dallas, man, this is a team that is winning again. They have won 8 of their last 10 until Teddy corrects me. And Oklahoma, touch and go all year. Win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 2. Lost to Denver, only able to put up 96 points. Where are we going in this game, Kel?
No, you're absolutely right. This is the problem with the Thunder is every once in a while they catch fire. I don't think they're going to. This Mavs team has played them tough in Dallas over the last couple of years. I think the Mavs are not getting enough respect here. The line move is interesting, so I'm going to keep an eye on it. If we see a 4.5, maybe even a 4 before tip, I'm definitely going to get involved in the Mavs. I think the Mavs have shown some promise. If Porzingis is playing, this Mavs team does so much better. I know that everybody wants to give Luka all the credit in the world, and I do think that he's going to be an all-star for the rest of his career, but he needs some assistance. I like the 5, but if I can get a better number by waiting, if we keep seeing this line drop, I'm going to take it. This is, again, an Oklahoma City team that I don't think is that great. Again, they have shown moments of greatness, but a Mavs team that's severely underrated. They just went into Brooklyn. When the line moved to Mavs -1, I hammered it the other night because I said, Porzingis has got to be playing. Somebody knows something I don't know. Sure enough, they were able to get it done. And so this is a Mavs team that I'm back on their train, and I'm going to start betting them again until they stop covering.
So it looks like Luka is not going to play tonight for Dallas. That's why the line has come, or all the money has come on OKC. Mostly 5.5s out there across the board. And, of course, no Luka. And Dallas has a lot of roles that they're good in. Home favorite isn't one of them. Just 2-9 against the number. Their last 11. Without Luka, and knowing the Dallas's track record in this particular role, are you still comfortable laying the fairly modest price with the Mavericks?
Last I saw, Luka was questionable. If he is out now, I'm excited because I love to see these overreaction lines in the NBA, Teddy. If Luka's out, big names like that, people bet the other side. It's almost automatic. So we're going to see if we can let's hope that the line moves just a little bit more. As I mentioned, 4.5, maybe 4. I do love that injured player theory, courtesy of, well, all of you guys use it, but I learned it from Marco D'Angelo back in the day. It's one of my favorite things. They lose their star power of sorts. Somebody's going to step up in his absence. As I mentioned, I think Porzingis is more of a playmaker for this Dallas team and was truly missed those few games where he was out. Him back in the lineup is more important to me than Luka.
Kelly, it's such a great point. And if you guys listened to the show yesterday, Dave Sharapan was on the show. And he talked about Crosby for the Pittsburgh Penguins on the COVID protocol. A late scratch in the game with Philadelphia. The line moved a ton. A lot of people started betting Philly, and Pittsburgh ended up winning. So, yeah, we see this all the time. Kel, what do you got to promote? What's going on? Where can people see you? You are a busy person in this industry.
I am. We were talking about before we started the show. It's kind of nice to just take a step back, be able to take a breath. Doing the Kelly and Murray podcast tonight, we've been a little absent since the Super Bowl because there wasn't a ton for us to talk about. Unfortunately, with COVID protocols and things like that, John and I decided not to be giving out college basketball plays on a Wednesday for a Saturday, of course, because so many things, too many things in the mix. But now that March Madness is back, NBA All-Star Weekend, lots of things in the baseball rumor mill, lots of futures bets, and excited to see where some of these line moves with the NFL trades going on. Cardinals, most notably. We'll see if J.J. Watt can stay healthy and be a difference maker for that defense. But we're going to be doing a new show tonight, so that's going to drop tomorrow. And that's really about it. Been doing the NBA bet streams for Bleacher Report and just kind of hanging out with my dog, trying to, soak up this nice, beautiful 75-degree weather that we have here in Las Vegas and take a break before the madness hits Vegas. It sounds like we're going to be busy. I'm excited. Vegas is opening back up. So anybody's in town for March Madness, let me know. I believe we're going to be hanging out at the Westgate one day, Circus Swim another. We're going to make all the rounds, trying to get Bobby, as you mentioned, Liggs to fly out to Vegas, join us. Johnny Detroit's going to be here, so it's going to be a great time.
And Bobby Liggs is as colorful as a rainbow on a gay man in Los Angeles. I made that up. Kelly, if you want to make a bet tonight in hockey, Rocky Atkinson, the guy is on a 15-2 run. 15 wins, 2 losses. He's got a 5% play up at sportsmemo.com. Kel, for you, I'll text it to you free. It's on the house, Kel. Anyway, thanks for joining us. Awesome actionable info already. A lot more coming up. Arthur DiCesare right after these messages.
The WagerTalk College Basketball Tip-Off Show, anchored by Dave Koken and Ralph Michaels, has been a success. Dave and Ralph wanted to personally thank each and every one of you who watched the show by having a blowout college hoops special to end the season. How would you like to get every release for the rest of the regular season, all the conference tournament selections, plus March Madness through the National Championship on April 5th, or any other postseason play? Now, how about paying only $2.99? Well, $2.99 each is a very fair price, but they wanted to offer a blowout season special. If you go to Dave or Ralph's WagerTalk homepage, you'll see a $2.99 special for both cappers to get college basketball through the Final Four. Now that is a thank you.
It is time for today's big game breakdown. And Kelly Stewart did an excellent job talking NBA. For today, I thought I would take a look at the college ranks for tonight. This one in the Big Ten stood out to me. Penn State right now, -4.5 against Minnesota. A total in that ball game sitting in the 148 range as we speak. And this is the final home game for the Nittany Lions seniors. They have 4 of them: Jamali Wheeler, John Harrar, Trent Buttrick, Taylor Nussbaum. Of course, all these guys might be back next year, given the NCAA's eligibility issues, but it is senior night. It is also Penn State, and Penn State's been a feisty little underdog, but they're coming off a really bad game. They got blown out by Purdue. They finally got off the schneid, snapped their losing streak with a win against Nebraska, and then came out flat as a pancake against Purdue. There was a double-digit lead by the 10-minute mark into the ball game, and Penn State never made a run. So it's Penn State on senior night at home, off a bad loss, and they're only laying 4.5. You say, why? Well, Penn State hasn't been winning games by margin. The last time they won a game by more than 5 points was January, So it's not easy for the Nittany Lions to win these games and to put teams away. But this line's only 4.5 because Minnesota's statistical profile doesn't resemble what the Gophers are right now. Look at Minnesota for the season. This team was 9-1 in their first 10 games. They beat Iowa, Michigan State, Ohio State, Purdue, and Michigan. Okay? Marcus Carr went for 41 last time out. There's star power on the Gophers. And yet, this team has lost their last 5, failed to cover all of them. Richard Pitino under enormous fire. They're getting killed on the glass. Bad news against Penn State, who's the best offensive rebounding team in the Big Ten. Minnesota hasn't sniffed a win or cover on the road And they lost on the road here last year to a weaker Penn State team, or a Penn State team that's no better than this one. And of course, Minnesota with injury concerns as well. Center Liam Robbins, guard Gabe Counselor have hurt them even more. Gophers are a bet against right now. Penn State isn't. I like the spot for the Nittany Lions to bounce back. I think they win this one by margin. Penn State minus 4.5. Makes a whole lot of sense to this better. Big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
Great stuff, Teddy Covers. And there were people in the chat room, they were talking about the word drool, Teddy, and it wasn't about Kelly. It was about your big game breakdown. They drool.
Was I drooling?
Man.
Oh,
No, they're drooling.
I thought I was spitting.
No, dude. Nice haircut, by the way. You look great.
You look marvelous, darling. But thank you. I got the haircut like last week, dude.
Yeah, I know, but I forgot to mention it, and I was having a man crush moment on you. I was crushing on you, Teddy.
Yeah, I know it happened.
Arthur DiCesare. I mean, come on, Teddy. We got stuff for everybody. Kelly Stewart for the guys, Arthur DiCesare for the girls. You, I don't know. Tons of actionable info. Art, it is an honor. You shaved about 7 hours ago? I don't think we have volume on Arthur DiCesare.
I'm confident we don't. But Joe is working.
We're working.
In the meantime,
we're working. It's probably that. It's probably that hardcore scruff he's got going. Teddy, I want to make mention. I'm going to give out a promo for me, bro. Prez 100. Prez 100. Everybody, you got $100 off of my all access 30-day package. I am on a 15-6 NBA run, a 12-5 NHL run. I am as hot as a woman who hasn't had any and is looking at you, Teddy. That's how hot I am. DiCesare, I don't know what's gotten into me today. We love having you. It's a shame no platypus on your head. What's going on over at the LINQ?
Good morning, gentlemen. Pleasure to be here.
Well, we love having you, man. That is for sure one of our best segments. What's been going on with you the last week since we last chatted?
You know, Prez, yeah, we're about to get into it. So, you know, it's March. So we're, you know, conference tournaments are coming. Obviously, Selection Sunday is a week from this Sunday. So we're about to get super busy. I think conference tournament time is one of those underrated weeks where, you know, you got games all day. It's a mini NCAA tournament type deal. So it's a lot of fun when you start getting into those and the bigger tournaments start to happen. So it should be fun over the next couple of weeks here.
I mean, so Kelly Stewart was just talking about how she felt like Vegas is starting to really come back. And, you know, obviously with the nightclubs being closed, with many of the dining venues closing early, with the shows not going full blast, there's still been plenty of gambling in Vegas, but the feel hasn't been the same. Are you sensing that March Madness is going to be a typical March Madness and the books are going to be rocking and the strip is going to be rocking? Are you getting that feel right now? And is it still too late if people want to get some space at the LINQ for March Madness? Is there reservations still available or is it all booked out?
No, Teddy, we're definitely going to have some spots still available. But I agree, you know, until we start seeing the clubs back, you know, open back up, all the dining open back up, shows come back in full swing, it won't be 100% Vegas. But I agree. I've definitely started to see, you know, more and more people, you know, like I always have told you guys, the weeks during the week, early in the week, it's a little slow, but you started to see it come back a little bit. And obviously with the nicer weather coming, pools are going to start opening, this, that, and the other. So we'll start to see Vegas start to really creep back here. And, you know, March Madness will be a big thing for us. And it'll be a big, nice couple of weeks. And hopefully we get a lot of people who come out.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm right there rooting with you, Arthur, because, you know, after a full year of this, you know, Vegas needs all the big weekends they can get. And to have a couple of these over the next couple of weeks would be very nice. Let's stay right here talking college hoops. Obviously, with March Madness around the corner, we have conference tournaments next week. We have a few this week. Have you seen anything in terms of sharp action today that our viewers would be interested in on the college basketball card? What stood out to you and the guys who bet at the LINQ Race and Sportsbook, whose action you're taking all day?
Absolutely, Teddy. It's kind of a light day in college basketball, but like you said, there are a couple of the smaller conference tournaments that are starting today. But the two games that jumped out at me, you got Villanova at home against Creighton. Villanova's kind of been a little back and forth the last couple of weeks here. They opened -4. It's now -5. So you've seen some money come in on the Wildcats thinking, they'll right the ship. It's March. Jay Wright gets the team going. They'll get them on a little run here. And then you got Notre Dame at home against NC State. Notre Dame opened -1. It's now Notre Dame -2.5. So if you like NC State, it's probably time to jump on the Wolfpack.
And NC State had been playing pretty much their best basketball of the season until this past weekend. The last couple of games, the Wolfpack played as well as I'd seen them play all year. So I'm a little bit surprised the money's going towards the Irish in that game. Now, have you seen the sharp money in college hoops continue to win? We know November, December, we respect the hell out of the sharp money in college hoops. January, certainly the totals, the totals market year-round in college hoops. But from a side standpoint, is the sharp money winning the same way that it was winning a month or two ago? Or at this time of year, maybe you tap the brakes a little bit and you don't want to be following those steam chasers?
No, Teddy, I'm with you. I think, we've had this conversation numerous times. College basketball, I'm always going to respect the sharp money. College basketball is one of those sports where it just seems like the sharp guys find their spots and they win in college basketball. Early in the year, yeah, it's definitely at a higher clip. Once we move into these conference tournaments, teams get tighter, a lot more, numbers we've seen. But still, the guys who are good at this year in and year out, the sharp bettors, they do well in college basketball throughout the year. Maybe not as good as they do in November, but they're still cashing. And listen, we're still taking from the public because the public is still yet to ever figure out college basketball, in my opinion.
Sure. Arthur says the sharp money today has come for the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, as well as the Villanova Wildcats. The early money coming on two relatively short home favorites. Anything worth talking about in the association for this evening, Arthur? And I'm going to ask that same question. Are the pros winning betting the NBA, or at this time of year, you take it with a grain of salt what the wise guy money is doing in the Professional Basketball Association?
Teddy, when I look at the NBA is a little bit of a different beast because we deal so much with these injuries, day in and day out. Someone's out, you're kind of waiting sometimes half an hour before a game to get news on a player. So NBA can be a little bit more hit or miss. Sometimes the totals, people have a lot of, fun betting those totals and a lot of, they find a lot of value betting those totals the way those totals move in the NBA. So, NBA once again could be hit or miss. There are definitely a couple of guys who I respect their NBA opinion. When I see them make an NBA bet, I say, okay, there's got to be something here. But once again, NBA could be a little bit more of a toss-up. I would say the two games in the NBA today that I would touch on, Pelicans at home against the Bulls. They were 4.5. They're now 5.5. People are starting to believe in the Pelicans. You start seeing people bet the Pelicans a lot more. People love Zion. The Bulls are awful. So you start to see people betting on the Pelicans. And I know it's a game you guys touched on. The Nets open -8, now 9.5. Two teams going in the opposite directions. Brooklyn 9-1 their last 10 ATS. Houston 1-9 their last 10. So is this Houston's Super Bowl? Probably, but I would not feel good taking Houston. And I probably wouldn't feel good laying the 9.5 either because Brooklyn, despite the 9-1 earlier in the year, had problems covering games. So that's an interesting line movement there.
Arthur DiCesare, everybody. Art, we love having you on, man. You're always full of information. I want to move to hockey really quick. And I want to hear from you. The same type of question Teddy's asking: are the wise guys winning or losing right now in hockey? I have a lot of questions. Let's start there, and then we'll get to the next question.
Prez, as far as the NHL goes, there's maybe one or two guys who come into my book every day who I respect. But normally, I'm always going to say this with hockey. Hockey is the parlay builder. Hockey is, I got 2 games. I need to fill a third game. So a lot of times I notice these guys who come in, they're the weekend bettors, or they're just, they're here on vacation. They'll just pick up an NHL sheet and they don't even know a ton about the NHL, but They just are like, oh, okay, I'm from whatever, and let me throw my home team in on this parlay. So,
Right.
the sharp bettors in the NHL are few far and in between, but they're definitely out there. So, it's not going to be like a college basketball or an NBA better, but some of us are out there, Press.
Art, I got to ask you a question about the lines in the NHL. What I find fascinating, and you don't see this as much in the NBA, is the lines are always the same, give or take. You had Edmonton and Toronto. Both teams have played to the under 8 of their last 11 games. Toronto shut Edmonton out 2 games in a row, 3-0, 4-0. And here they are again. And again, we have a 6.5 on tap. It really feels like it never changes. St. Louis, again, this team is playing to the over. All of a sudden, they put up a 7 spot, then they put up a 5 spot. Anaheim is playing to the over out of the blue, yet 5.5. Again, it never seems to move. Is there a reason for that? Because to me, I'm thinking with hockey, as you're saying, parlay builders, not a lot of wise guys, etc. It just feels like, oh, Edmonton is Connor, Toronto is Matthews. This game's going over. Is that what's going on? Why is there no movement?
I think that's got a lot to do with the Prez. I also think, you got to look at the handle. If we get a tremendous handle on a certain thing, it could move. I remember a game last week. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but it did open at 6.5 and did move to 6. It's funny that you mentioned the Leafs Oilers. That's one of those games I was looking at that
Toronto,
today,
Calgary.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely. Of course, one of these North games we've talked about with all the scoring early, and now they're not scoring. But Leafs Oilers, I was on that this morning. I looked, wow, 6.5. You got to take the under in that. And now it scares the hell out of me because I'm thinking, it's a 6.5. I got to play that under blindly and watch it be a 5-4 game. But I still like the under in that game. But I think a lot of the reason sometimes it's not going to move is because there's just not a lot of action on it.
So, and to me, that's what makes hockey such a great sport to bet. Because there's not a lot. I mean, you've literally come on this show, and from a hockey perspective, you've literally told us there's not a ton of wise guys out there beating you guys. Most of the hockey bets you guys are taking are parlay builders, which is very little thought. And the handle's not big enough to move the lines. That, to me, says one thing. Bet hockey. Teddy, you have anything to add to that?
I mean, Arthur's when a respected veteran lines maker comes on the show and tells you, the 3 things that you just said in a row. Yeah. If it's a sport you cap, you have to think there will be positive expectation wagers out there. And that's what we look for.
Arthur, hockey-wise, do you have any bets? I know you like the under in the Leaf game. I do as well. I'll be talking about it in the penalty box segment. Anything else real quick, and then we got to let you go.
No, Prez, I'll just reiterate that again. I think Leafs Oilers under 6.5 is a great play. I love that play.
Excellent stuff. Arthur DiCesare, Sportsbook Supervisor at the LINQ. A great follow on Twitter at Art Dice. Brother, I thought I had an excellent show. Art Dice 21. What, is that because you think you're 21? What's up with the 21?
It's a blackjack thing. It's a Vegas theme. Art Dice. Instead of DiCesare, it's Art Dice. Art Dice.
You want to know what it really is?
Gambling
I'll
theme.
tell you what it is.
It's
a Deion
wait.
Sanders thing.
You corrected Teddy?
Yeah.
Deion Sanders thing.
Joe, clip that. There was another moment in the show where you were correctable, Teddy, and you made a mistake. I just let it slide. And I'm still going into the penalty box. Later, Art.
Peace, guys.
Awesome stuff. Penalty box segment, guys. 2-0 yesterday. Really feeling it in hockey all around on a 12-5 run. I won my last 7 hockey cards. I got a 3-pack up. at WagerTalk Today. So make sure to check that out. I got 2 plays for you guys tonight, and we're going straight to the Leafs under. Look, we've spoken about this game already with Arthur, and obviously this game can go over, and none of these bets are guaranteed, but we got to look at the trends, we got to look at the stats, and we got to play to them. Both teams 8-3 to the under in their last 11 games. Both teams, last 2 games they played went under the total. Edmonton hasn't scored in 6 periods. I do lean on Edmonton tonight as well, guys, but I much prefer the under. One of those real interesting bets where I'm kind of going for 2-0. I'm going to take Colorado in regulation against the San Jose Sharks and the over 6 in that game. My thought process here is really simple. Get me 3 goals, Colorado. Just get me 3. And if you can get me 3, at the worst case scenario, go 1-1. I think I got a real good shot at 2-0. Colorado put up a stinker last game against San Jose, but they outshot San Jose substantially and really did carry the play. Made 3 big mistakes in the neutral zone that ended up becoming goals. Colorado is going to be very hungry. This team is literally struggling for a playoff position, and I think they might be one of the best teams in all of hockey. So I think Colorado is going to bounce back. I like them in regulation, and I like over the total. Let's get ourselves 3 goals from Colorado, please, and the Leafs under, and continue our winning NHL streak. Teddy Covers, what an outstanding show, brother. Kelly Stewart at the top. Thank you, Kelly. Art DiCesare, a busy man. He gives us his time every Wednesday. Love doing this with you, man. We'll see you tomorrow. Gianni and Dave Koken. Teddy, take us home.
Sure. And it's important to note, Prez, very quickly before we leave the show, when I correct someone on air or vice versa, it's not about me going, haha, you got that wrong. Our job is to give correct information. And when there's incorrect information, I don't care if it hurts your feelings or Arthur's feelings or my feelings. We're going to make sure that the information we give out on the show is correct every single day. That's far more important than anyone getting their feelings hurt, because we want to present you with the best information you can get free anywhere. That's why we ask you to like. That's why we ask you to subscribe. That's why we ask for your comments on the show. It helps us get the rankings, helps us bring you the content you deserve day in, day out. All that said, enjoy the games tonight and good luck. We'll be back again tomorrow right here on WagerTalk Today.
Gianni the Greek over the past 30 days has increased client bankrolls by 84% and is looking to repeat his 2020 #1 overall profit title at both WagerTalk and Sports Memo, where he not only took the crown last year, but he has never had a losing calendar year at WagerTalk and holds the following all-time records. #1 in golf, CFL, and NASCAR. #2 in total profit, college football, NHL, soccer, and MMA. And #3 in the NFL. Right now, you can lock in 45 days of plays for the price of $30 for a limited time, saving yourself $200 over the regular price.